actually play. I say Buffalo. Buffaloes plays against Colorado State this weekend, and I know I'm kind of late to the party. Of course, I'm on vacation right now, but there was some comments made by Jay Norvell. Deion responded. His son responded, and it's after a while, it's like a saga you don't want to watch, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. Hey, I'm not Bobby Durkins, at least not here. If you're new to the channel, I hope you do subscribe. It's free. And also, if you've been watching the channel for a while and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. My analytics tells me that I have a lot of people who are consistently watching who hasn't subscribed yet. It's free. Also, if you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, you can hit the join button below the video. You won't see that on an iPhone, so you'd have to do that on another device. Anyway, so Jay Norvell made a comment this week that when he talks to like the media, he takes off his sunglasses and his hat because that's what his mother taught him. And of course, Deion and his family and his football team took that as a slap, trash talk. Okay, so let's pause here for a second. Deion Sanders has been successful since Florida State. So there's a lot of you who were even watching this video. You weren't even born when he was in college. A lot of you don't even know he played for the Atlanta Falcons. The other day I was talking to my son, and you know, he's 17, and he was talking about Deion playing and so on. I said, well, yeah, I mean, he played for the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Falcons. It was incredible what he did. You know, he's a super athlete. He was like, what, he played for the Falcons? And I was like, yeah. So the point here is Deion is a super successful guy. But he loves to play the underdog. He plays the underdog. If you say anything even in the general direction of Deion, he's going to try to turn that as a slight towards him. And of course, he's passed that along to his Colorado football team. And notice who's doing the trash talking, though. The trash talking is being done by teams who are not that successful. Now, I know a lot of people wants to talk about TCU making it to the national championship last year, and that when Colorado beat them, that was some massive upset. Technically, on paper, that was an upset, but it was not a massive upset. We're not talking about Appalachian State going up to Michigan and beating a national title contending team. I know that TCU was just in the national title, but we saw how that went. It was terrible. It was awful. They shouldn't have been there. The real national title was between Ohio State and Georgia in the first round of the college football playoff. And that was a fantastic game. That was a fantastic game. But is that TCU is a good team, but they're not a great team. They're not a contender team. I won't even say they're a good team. After the talent they lost, they're an okay team. They lost Garrett Riley. He's now at Clemson. But notice it is the teams that's talking trash that are not successful. If Colorado was playing Michigan next week, if they were playing Ohio State next week, if they were playing even Alabama, a lot of people's hoping Alabama is down. But even as long as you have Nick Saban standing on the sidelines, you're going to have a problem to play. But if you're playing against Georgia next week, Clemson's not even in the running anymore, unfortunately. But an old Clemson team, they probably wouldn't say too much, because even though Colorado has this whole thing going on, and everybody's blown away by how well they're doing, because Deion actually made some good coaching hires. He hired Charles Kelly to run his defense. That guy, he won a national championship at Florida State. He's been around Alabama. I mean, this guy can coach. Sean, I think, God, what is it? Is it Sean Lewis? I can't remember his name. His offensive coordinator. He's former Kent State coach. He can call offense. All right. But he went to the transfer portal and he did what he did, and it raised eyebrows. Of course, that pregame meeting with his team, once he was announced as the head coach, it went viral and everybody watched it. What's going on in Boulder, especially considering what's went on in Boulder the past 20 years? I mean, hey, it's something to watch. I mean, it's kind of like a college football soap opera. But notice if Colorado was playing legitimate contenders, most of these guys wouldn't say too much. And if they did, their coach would pull them off to the side and say, "Hey, listen, we're not scared of Deion. We're not scared at all." But they would get to the point that they would be like, "We respect what they've done, but they're trying to get where we're at. And we have tenure on our side. They have one season with a high-profile hire and signing a bunch of transfer portal guys. That's not us." And you would not see that out of championship teams. So as the weeks go on, folks, and you're watching teams like Nebraska take shots at them. You're watching teams like Colorado State take shots at them. I don't know if TCU said anything. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Notice the caliber of teams who are taking shots at them. Also notice that Colorado is taking this really, really personal. They're being very vocal about how personal it is, which lets me know that there's a lack of maturity there on the football team. Because if you're really, really growing as a football team, you need to keep that inside the locker room, and you need to have a quiet confidence. And I know that's not Deion's style. I know everybody's going to come on here and go, "That's not Deion's style." That's fine for Deion, but you have to remember this guy has been wildly successful. His players, including his sons, even though they're doing good things right now, they haven't earned that right to run their mouth. Do you understand what I'm saying here? They haven't earned that right. They have to go out and earn it. He's talking from a place of success. They're speaking from a place of immaturity. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, a lot of times it sounds alike. And I'm not hating on Deion, but I mean, my goodness, there's sometimes I'm like, dude, would you just walk in with some confidence instead of calling out everybody who doesn't pull for you? But hey, coaches have to do their thing. Dabo's did it before. I think one of the few coaches who doesn't do that is Nick Saban, and we see how successful he's been. And but anyway, if I'm any team that was going to play Deion, and maybe I hadn't had success yet, I would tell everybody, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Don't talk. Compliment them. They thrive off of it's us against the world. And that can get you somewhere. I think part of the problem at Clemson right now is it's us against the world wore off when Clemson beat Alabama by 4 touchdowns in the national championship. And then that shtick doesn't work anymore. You know, you can preach that to a group of 3-star players that you have pulled together around some 5-star talent that's came in. But once you have 4- and 5-star talent everywhere, you can't preach that message, because those 4- and 5-star players have been treated like royalty. And most of them are coming from highly talented high school football teams or IMGs, teams like them that's basically shelling out high-profile athletes, you can't tell them that we're the underdog. They haven't been the underdog for a long time when it comes to athletics. So it's just really interesting to see how this is all working out. But if I was coaching, it had to coach against Deion right now, and I was not part of a successful team, and I was having to go up against him, I would tell all my players, close your mouths. We're going to be very complimentary of them. Man, they're doing a really great job there in Boulder. We're just going to go out, take care of business, and do what we can. That's what I would say. Because Deion thrives on people looking at him and saying, you know what, I think he's cocky. You know, I think he says certain things just to be inflammatory. He loves that. Colorado will come to a crossing very soon. If they continue to win, they're going to end up playing the Ohio States. They're going to end up playing the Michigans. They're going to end up playing the Georgias, which Georgia, I think, they're still a very talented football team across the board. I'm not sold on them versus the team last year or the year before, especially from the offensive coordinator side. With that said, having to play against teams like them, they're going to face a team that, even if they did want to trash talk, that if a Michigan wanted to trash talk, if a Georgia wanted to trash talk, if a Florida State still has a lot to prove. But if Florida State wanted to kind of trash talk, they could possibly get away with it, although, you know, they're still rebuilding. But anyway, you get my point. In this whole victim mentality, or us against the world, really wouldn't work against them. Because they're so talented and they have the coaches as well. But anyway, my thoughts of any team that is going to play Deion, compliment him, compliment their team, say nothing, just do that, because I'm telling you, we know that Colorado State's going to get beat by 50 points tomorrow. Deion's going to jog off the field like, see, you don't mess with me, you don't talk about me, you keep my family's name out of your mouth, and all that bunch of stuff. And it's going to inflame these players around him to think that is the norm, when the rest of college football really doesn't operate that way. And once you get to a certain level, you know, if Nick Saban, who is the best coach to coach college football, if one of his players even acted in some of that way, he would probably pull him over and make up profanity that we've never heard before, to tell them to shut their mouth. You came here to play football. You came here to get to the NFL. Leave any remarks to me and apologize. He's just not up for that. But hey, listen, folks, I'm going to let you go. We're last few days of vacation here, and then we'll be heading back to the upstate of South Carolina. So sorry for the hiss on the video. And there's a hiss here. I didn't bring a microphone. Normally I have my laptop, I have my studio mic, I have my interface, I have all. This is totally different. I'm on the front porch of a beach house. So anyway, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. It is free, and that does help out the channel. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, there's a $3 and $5 tier. Somebody asked me the other day, said, what's the difference? Transparently, I just gave you a $3 and $5 option. There's really no difference. If you want to support the channel at $5, great. If you want to support it at $3, great. Or you want to give a super thanks here, either way, I do appreciate it. I'm just glad that you're here. But if you're watching, please at least subscribe, because it's free and it does help the channel. Folks, college football is in its infant stage for the 2023 season. Let's enjoy it. Let's have a good time. And let's remember, at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's just a game with a bunch of players and a bunch of coaches that most likely doesn't know our name, doesn't care to know our name. So let's try to always have fun. We can be passionate, but let's try to keep it civil. Y'all be good. Take care of yourself. I'm going to try not to get sunburned.